Once upon a time in a village nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling lake lived a boy named Finn. Now Finn was no ordinary boy. He had a peculiar habit that made him the talk of the town, or rather the half of the town that had ever seen him. You see, Finn vanished every night at precisely 11 p.m. without a trace. It all started when he was just 5. One moment he'd be playing by the lake, his laughter echoing in the air, and the next, poof, he'd be gone. His parents would frantically search for him, calling out his name until their voices were hoarse. The villagers would join in, their concern growing with each passing hour. But Finn was never found. As night fell and the moon climbed higher in the sky, the frantic search would turn into a somber vigil. They'd find his little red cap on the riverbank, the same one he always wore, and it would seem to mock them with its silence. The villagers, with their wild imagination, started weaving tales around Finn's disappearance. Some said he was kidnapped by goblins who only came out at night. Others claimed he was taken by the water sprites that lived in the lake. Their voices like the wind, their touch like the waves. These stories, meant to explain the unexplainable, became the lullabies of the town. But amidst all this, there was a girl. A girl who didn't believe these fantastical tales. Her name was Alara, and she knew Finn. She had seen him not just during the day, but sometimes at night too. You see, Alara had a secret so big it felt like a boulder in her chest. She was the only one who saw Finn at night, and what she saw was not a happy, carefree boy, but a small, shivering form, no bigger than a kitten, curled up on the window ledge of an abandoned house. Every night at 11, she'd watch him climb out of his window, his eyes wide with fear, his little body shaking. Once outside, he'd stay perfectly still, like a little mouse caught in the glare of a cat's eyes. Then, as if someone had pressed pause in a storybook, the entire town would vanish. Houses would disappear, streets would dissolve, and the lake would turn to glass. In that eerie silence, Finn would make his way to the abandoned house, dragging his feet like it was the heaviest journey he'd ever embarked on. Elara watched him, her heart breaking for him, her mind filled with questions. Why did he leave? Why did the town vanish? And where did everyone go? She wanted to help Finn, but how could she? Torn between her desire to help and her fear of being seen, Elara chose to keep watching. She wanted to understand, to piece together the puzzle of Finn's nightly escapades. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, Elara grew older. She was now 12, but her feelings for Finn remained the same. Then one night, something extraordinary happened. As Finn stood on his windowsill, about to make his nightly journey, he turned. He looked directly at Elara, his eyes filled with a plea. In that moment, the unspoken bond between them solidified. Elara knew she couldn't just stand by and watch anymore. With newfound determination, she left her home, stepping into the night. As she walked past the last house, the streetlights flickered, and the familiar ache of loss filled the air. But Elara didn't stop. She kept walking, her gaze fixed on the shimmering lake in the distance. When she reached the lake, she gasped. There wasn't a ripple on its surface. Not a single ripple. It was as if the entire town, along with the lake, was holding its breath, waiting for something, or rather someone. Suddenly, the silence was broken by a voice. It was a woman's voice, and it called out, Elara. Elara turned to find the woman standing behind her. Who are you? She asked. The woman smiled sadly and said, I am the guardian of this lake. And you, Elara, are the only one who has ever come to it alone after sunset. With that, the woman took Elara's hand and led her to the lake. This is the only place where you can find him, she said. And as the first rays of dawn touched the horizon, they were met with a sight that left them both speechless. Standing before them were the townspeople, along with Finn, their faces etched with worry, their eyes filled with hope.